Okay, so I guess if you know me, you know that the mantra that I have, or what I call upon when a race starts to get really tough, is that idea of the lion, and that's my surname, Scullion, and lion at the end. And I flipped it for Instagram, like lion skull, but this is Larry, Larry the lion, and I guess Larry's like a symbol of. I let Larry sit here for a second. But Larry's like a symbol of I'm home. And so I don't come home to Belfast, Northern Ireland much, but when I do, Larry's holding the fort. So today I wanted to talk about what is a full day of running training. The reason this doesn't mean they're not good, but I don't plan my YouTube videos as such in terms of next Tuesday I'll do this, next Thursday I'll do this. What tends to happen is I'm out there training, perhaps I have a conversation with somebody, perhaps I bring up an important topic, and I think I should share that. Today I was at the track, I was doing a long track session. It was 3 times 2K and then 6 by a K. I'm sure you'll get to watch it on YouTube. I got lots of content. It felt like a longish morning, and I had company, and there was a guy there and he was videoing it and really helping me with the content side of stuff. And one of the comments was, that was quite a long morning. It was 12K of reps on the track. And it was quite a long morning, but what was really interesting is kind of like this exchange that happened next. Because it was like, sure, that's a long morning, sure, that's quite a lot, and most people, that's where the running day stops. You've done your running, you've done your session, the day's done. Not if you want to be your best self. Not if you want to reach, that full potential that you have in you. The day does not stop. And that's also not where the day started. And so when I was probably about 16, 17, a coach said to me, most runners are brilliant for that 1 to 2 hours a day that they're out there training, but most aren't great during the other 22 to 23 hours of the day. And that's what separates not just the best from kind of good, not just, sub-elite or below sub-elite. It's what separates, more importantly, you from bringing the best out of yourself. At a certain point of your running career, you need to do more than just run. Let me be frank. Running is the easy part of this. Running is the easy part of, I want to be better at running, so run. But that's the easy part. That's the part that we like doing. That's the part when they say everyone can be a runner because you just put on a pair of running shoes and you go run. They're not wrong. But the problem is, if you want to be good and you want to sort of be your best self, you need to do more than that. When I was starting this whole journey, the reason YouTube exists, the reason I'm doing more stuff on YouTube is because I started this journey of trying to get out of my head the stuff that I know what to do around the training and start to help, call it educate, I don't care what you want to call it, just start to give people the tools that would allow and support them to be better.
What makes me good at what I do isn't like just the training. It's not like what makes me good at what I do isn't just the training I do, it's how I do it. What I ate this morning, what I do for my warm-up, how I do the training, what I do immediately after to recover. And that's like the core principles of the school, is to teach people everything that I do is autopilot that they won't know about.
It almost felt not unfair, but I I find it tough to do all those things. I can't imagine how tough it would be if every time you want to help your recovery a little bit, you have to go research and find out about recovery. So I know it's tough. I know that the running part is the easy bit, just getting out the door, getting a run done. It maybe only takes 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, have a shower, move on with your day. The other stuff can be tedious. The other stuff can be time consuming. But it's all the support work, and it's that full day of training, what we're going to talk about. Lots of those days is what builds a brilliant race result. In my running master class, that's what it was about. It was about not just how to train, but how are you going to support your body with recovery, with good nutrition, with good psychology, with strength and conditioning. What are you going to do to maximize each day to ensure that A, tomorrow you're healthy and not getting injured and not breaking down, but B, absorbing way more of the training that you did the day before because you ate at the right time, you ate the right stuff, you slept a good way because you were given a pre-bed routine, you'd done some foam rolling, you did some self-massage, you'd done some running specific yoga. All this stuff that might seem professional and might seem, it doesn't have to be 60 minutes of these things. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 10 minutes. But it's putting things in place that's going to help you stay healthy, but that it's also going to help you absorb more of this training that you're doing. Why would you go out there and work hard? Why would you go out there and put in all this effort to then maybe not absorb the full session, the full benefits, because you didn't put things in place either side of the training to help your body? I know over 3-4 days, it gets to maybe day 4, and I'm asking a lot of my body. I'm asking my body to go out again and push hard again, and not only that, I want to go do that because I enjoy that, but I'm saying to my body, hey, and you better recover from this because I want to do it again. And I'm also thinking, not only you better recover because I want to do this again, you better absorb it all because in 2 weeks' time, I want to be fitter. And I look at it, and I do these 4 days, and I'm starting to get a bit tired. And then I look into it a bit closer, and I'm like, sure, Stephen, you could fool anybody. If people looked at your Strava, you could fool anybody on Strava. They'd think you're training a lot. They'd say, Stephen, that's a big mileage week, well done. But I know personally, I think to myself, when's the last time before you left the house, you woke up and you had your glass of water? When's the last time before you left the house did you do your morning little pre-body check and activation routine? And then I start asking the question of, do you really want this? Is this what you want? And so I sat for a long time and I debated, not in a spoilt way. I didn't think to myself, do I want to go to the Olympics or not? I'm not qualified. I still need to earn it like everybody else. And I didn't sit there in a spoilt manner thinking, oh, do I want to be an Olympian again? It wasn't like that. I sat thinking about it for months because I knew that running is more than just going for a run. The commitment was not, am I willing to run twice a day? That wasn't the commitment. The commitment was, are you willing to run twice a day, even when you don't want to? Are you willing to get up early and go do it? Are you willing, if you're traveling, to go late at night? Are you willing to do foam rolling, stretching, yoga, gym, eat at certain times, go to bed at certain times, put things in place to help sleep, go to physio? That's a different question. And that's probably why it took me months to be like, okay, I'll do it. But that's the purpose of today. Today is, I'll try to frame it how I do things, and then I'll try to frame it in a way that if I was working full time, which, let me tell you, with YouTube and the running school, I'm not far off working full time. And that kind of needs to slow down a bit. If you've watched my kind of weekly reviews of training, yeah, that needs to slow down. I went to bed last night at 1 a.m. I was up this morning at 7 to go to the track at 9. My days are jam-packed with editing and filming, and that's not what you're here to talk about. But I can give you context to if I was in that full-time environment, what I would do, how my full day would look, how I'd maximize time, this kind of thing. And so my days now, and this isn't every day, I will do a day in the life, but I could be wrong. But to me, you guys are watching a day in a life to learn what I'm just about to tell you, what you should do. You're watching a day in a life to take notes and possibly integrate some of that into your life. And this way for me is more educational. This is better. This is telling you what to do. My day, I set an alarm. It's usually for like 7. I get up at 7, and the first thing I'll do is always drink a glass of water. And in the glass of water, just like, this is a real fancy glass. This was like my Christmas present, but given I haven't been home since Christmas, I only got it like yesterday. But wake up. Hold on. So wake up, have a glass of water. In one of my recent videos, I said don't ever pass up an opportunity to drink a glass of water. Never. Drink your glass of water. If you woke up at 7 and you're like me and you're full time and you have the luxury of being a professional and you have 2 hours before you need to go train, you can have another glass of water in that 2 hour period. If you're getting up, actually we're going to get to the full time thing, but for now we'll talk about me. Then I have a coffee. I don't eat breakfast, so I have my coffee. My pre-body check, this came from whenever I went to yoga, I would do maybe like a bridge, or I would do a warrior pose, and I'd think to myself, God, I didn't know those quads were so tight. And I'd do these moves, and I'd move in these ways, and I'd be like, oh, I had no idea my back was so bad. The pre-body check was added to the running school and the marathon plan and the 10K plan. It was added as a start to get to know your body. Don't leave the house without doing some movements. You know, reach over, twist your back a little bit, take a big deep breath, maybe go into a lunge, maybe you can go on the website on joggingroom.com. I think the pre-run activation is free, but that's all it is. It's moving the body into lunge positions, into long lunges, short lunges, glute bridge. Not only does it help get the muscles moving and activated before you go out the door, hence pre-run activation, it just tells you where it's at. I think that's so important for 2 reasons. One, you've made a decision to check in with your body, rather than we're so reckless and so careless and we normally don't care too much about the body. That's a good decision. The next is that it basically activates the muscles before you go out the door. And let's say quads are more tired than usual because you did a little quad stretch, that was part of your, body check, and you know what parts of your body break down, so check in with them. You've done a little quad stretch, that part of your quad's pretty tight, and you've said to yourself, I'm still going to do today's training, but I'm going to not push, because now that I've done the pre-run body check, my quads are really tight, and I've thought to myself, why are my quads really tight? And then I've thought, I have been pushing pretty hard lately. There's been no Epsom bath, there's been no self-massage, there's been no foam rolling, there's been no stretching. Basically, you effed up, and because of that, you have to be careful today. You don't do the pre-run body check, there's no self-accountability, you go out the door, you do your training at the pace you were supposed to, and you hurt your quad. Or your quad gets tired in about a week's time. Whose fault is that? You're thinking, I don't know, it's because I'm running on road too much. No, it's because you weren't doing the other stuff. You've done your little pre-run body check, you've done your pre-run activation, you get to go out the door. You go for a run. You start getting your run done. You run at the intensity you're supposed to run at. You don't run too fast, but you don't run too slow either. You run at the intensity of the plan for that day. You maximize the time that you have. I go, I get my run done, I come back, guess what I've brought with me? A snack so that I recover straight away, and a bottle of water. I've also brought a yoga mat and a stretching rope. And I lay down and I do some stretches, and I throw the legs off to one side and I throw the hamstrings up and I stretch the hips out a bit. I bring a little ball with me, I roll on the ball. All these routines are on the website, you can check them out. I roll on the ball, I get the hips loosened up, I get the glutes loosened up, I get the foam roller, I roll on the foam roller. It doesn't even take that long. The reason I bring it with me in the car is because when I'm home at night, I don't want to do it. I just like to relax and watch TV. Once it's done, it's done. I shower, I clean myself off, I have a dry t-shirt because that's how you get sick. If you're not going to have a shower, at least replace your t-shirt so that it's not damp on your chest. Perfect. You've had your little recovery shake, or you've had your little snack, you've had your bottle of water, now you get to go home. I then get to relax for a couple of hours. It's not a lot of time, but usually around 1 or 2, I'm either going to go to the gym, or this is when like yoga could be important in your structure, or I might have like physio, or I might have both. So I might have to go do my gym at a time that then gets me finished before I can go to physio. Gym, so important. That's what holds the body together. It's not just about getting stronger so that like you're stronger and you're faster. It's about correcting some of the weaknesses, some of the imbalances that's perhaps preventing you from running in a more efficient way. Once you start running in a straight line and your body's biomechanics aren't like crossing over or fighting each other, you can be less fit but faster. What? Less fit but faster? Awesome. And that's what you have to start thinking about. A lot of runners just think more training, harder training, need to be fitter. And here's your body. If it was a map, more training, and your fitness is going up. But if your body condition is going down, your end result is a fitness plus body condition. So you need them both to be going up. And actually, the way the scales end up tipping, you've put in all this hard work, you're fitter, but your body's a mess, so the end result, remember that you're just like a Formula 1 car. You rely on the vehicle. Your body's the vehicle. Why are you not helping it? Help your body. And so yoga, strength, physio, never yoga and strength, but I can do strength and then a little bit of stretch, and not a full yoga session, but just gym, running, tightens the muscles up, little bit of stretching, keep your mobility, loosens them off again. Otherwise you end up with really short muscles and your stride will all not be good, and you don't want that. So you've done that, and then guess what? You get to go home for a little bit, and after you go home for a little bit, now you're focusing more on like the nutrition. It's kind of like, what have I done today? What training have I done? Probably how many of a calorie deficit am I in? How much water have I been drinking? Do I need to drink more water? Hopefully there's time to have a little bit of a nap, a little bit of a relax. You finish the nap, you finish a little bit of relaxing, you're likely going to have another coffee, and guess what? You get to go and do it all again. So now that it's like 5 p.m, this is literally tonight. This morning's session was like 14 miles, and I've done my physio and I've done the gym, and I got home, and I literally didn't get home until about 3:45, 4. There was no time to nap. That when you're videoing stuff, and the day can run away with you. And I looked at the training and I thought, 14 miles, that's a good day. That's a lot. And then I thought, are you healthy? Yeah. Do you have time? Yeah. Why don't you go run? So I have to go run. I'm not going to condone overtraining, not at all. But if you have time, make the most of the time that you have. If I don't run tonight, tomorrow I'm going to do a run in the morning, nice and easy, then I've got some gym testing in the afternoon. I might end up tired after gym testing, as in like sore, and you don't want to run when you're sore. If that's the case, I might have to not run tomorrow night. If I don't run tomorrow night, or even if I do, there might end up being a night this week. Thursday, I already know, I'm flying to Istanbul to watch Katie compete in the European Indoor Championships. I won't be able to run Thursday night, and so sometimes the work just needs to get done. And that's so important. You can set up these fancy training plans, But ultimately, the end result is a product of everything you got done. I think it's okay to move things. If I wasn't flying Thursday, I perhaps didn't need to double run tonight. But it's Monday, and I like banking a good day on a Monday so that later in the week there's a bit more room for negotiation. My advice there is make the most of the time you have. If that means having to run before work, run before work. It might not be great, you might not like it, but if your day runs away with you at work and then you end up not getting to run, you end up super stressed, don't let that happen. Work with the time you've got. If your weekends are pretty free, bulk your weekends. Train more at the weekend. That's fine. You get to set your own rules. There's optimum ways for some people to do things, but optimum for you might be different. And so I went and got my run done. Before the evening run, I don't do as much like pre-run activation. It's not a full routine. It's not 10 minutes. Just, again, a little bit of stretching. I stretched my quads because I knew they were tired from gym and they were tired from the track this morning. Literally when I was on the physio table and he was getting me to do glute bridges to see my movement, my hamstrings were cramping. So I gave my hamstrings a little bit of a stretch. And then I went and ran. And it's nice and easy. There's no pressure. There's no stress. I come back and the next thing that I do is I prep dinner. Dinner is preparing for tomorrow. Kind of recovering from today, but also helping to prepare for training tomorrow. It's like going to the petrol station at night time to fill the car up for the journey tomorrow. That's important. You get dinner out of the way, you get to relax for a little bit. I'm probably going to look through the training plan. Wednesday finishes a 10-day cycle, and then I like to have a little brief and just see how it went, where are things at. Then, woohoo! More water, because that's really important. You gotta keep on top of that hydration all the time. And the next thing that I start to do, it's probably gonna be in about 30 minutes. About 7:30, I start that pre-bed routine. And that pre-bed routine, I talked about gym, I talked about physio, I talked about pre-run activation, I talked about my runs, I talked about the training, the sessions, and they're all done with lactate readers and heart rates and done optimally. But what I'm looking to do at night time, I need to check the 30 minutes and it stops recording. Ow. Golly, I can't be taking risks with this 30-minute thing. The first weekly review I did, I ran out of time and it was very stressful for me. So all the training I've done so far has been, call it like meticulous. It's not just done. That's probably something really important to say. There's a lactate reader there, there's a heart rate there. I'm making sure that when I'm training, I'm extracting the absolute most out of that training. And that means that if I'm doing 12k at threshold, that means I run 12k at threshold. And how I know I run 12k at threshold is either by heart rate or lactate. And I've done heart rate testing and I've done lactate testing. And so that means it's kind of like if there was such a thing as investing the exact amount of money in the exact stock to get the biggest return, well, that's what you're trying to do on a daily basis. So yes, all this support stuff's good, but the training has to be good too. Lots of people are really good at pushing too hard. Lots of people are really good at moving a session and doing an easy run because John's doing an easy run. But training is set for specific reasons. Whether it's VO2, intervals, hills, tempo, there was likely a specific reason to do it. And if it was in your 10-day cycle, your 7-day cycle, 2-week cycle, you should do it. And when you're doing it, you should have some form of measurement to make sure you're doing it right. Even if it's just when you finish, you go, was that a 6 out of 10? Yeah, well done. That's done well. Nutrition built around the training. Now we've got to 7:30. And I make a calm bedtime drink. and I go in the kitchen, and this is kind of, this just starts getting the brain in a, hey, we're gonna sleep soon. So I go in the kitchen, I make my calm drink, a nice hot drink. There's magnesium in it, that's going to help me sleep. It also helps muscles calm down. So if I ever get those jittery muscles and they're tensing in the night, calm helps. I personally have some CBD products. I've been lately experimenting with like the company that helps me. They're called Pure Sports. There is an ad in there because they do support me. I get it free. There might also be a link in the description where you get some discount, 20%. You don't have to. That's official. I have to do that. I hate it. That's not me. I don't push anything that I don't use myself. That I actually don't use it. That I actually use myself is what I mean to say. I get emails, I get Instagrams. Can you push this? Can you push this? Will you do a video on this? Never. You'll not see that. But it is part of my day. So I make the calm, and then I look like an absolute junkie because I literally sometimes have 8 pills. And there's a de-stress capsule, which I think is CBD and some other capsules, like some other, ingredients. I have a Trust Your Gut, a Pure Sport Trust Your Gut, which I think it's like probiotic. And honestly, if my nutrition isn't dialed in, fruit, veg, I think it's helpful. Definitely helpful when your nutrition's not perfect. Reishi, really good for sleep, really good for like what's called REM sleep, is your recovery sleep. Again, I have it. And is that it? Oh, Unwind. Unwind is like CBD, but calms the brain down just like the de-stress. Okay, don't read into this. I don't care if it's a placebo. I don't. Have you ever read Science of Placebo? Science of Placebo. I've also read studies that say this stuff helps. I wouldn't use it if I hadn't. But even if it was just a placebo, have you ever actually read about like the science behind placebo? It works. People take placebo caffeine tablets and perform better. So people take this is really funny. People drink non-alcoholic beers when they're told it's not non-alcoholic and they act drunk. That one blows my mind. But even if these things are placebo, it's why I'm going in the kitchen at 8:30 to pour my calm drink. It's a process. It's part of the routine. It says, hey, we're starting to think about sleep. You know what happens if you take a effing tablet that you start to think is linked to your sleep and will help your sleep? Your brain starts to release melatonin. As it starts to release melatonin naturally, you start to get drowsy. As you stop watching the action movie on TV, you start to get drowsy. It just puts you into that routine. What happens next is I drink my calm drink, I throw down my 8 tablets, both off you go, and I wait. No, I'm kidding. I sometimes do a little bit of light stretching if I can be bothered. Like last night I was watching Tyson Fury fight, or Tommy Fury, sorry. That's so mean. That is really mean. Tommy Fury. And he was fighting against Jake Paul. I actually really enjoyed it. Didn't think I would, but yeah. And I watched some boxing, but not a lot of boxing. I'm getting off topic. I sort of watched the fight, and I rolled a little bit on the floor. I haven't been doing that a lot lately, but my right hip gets bad. So as you can see, there's a lot going on. It's not just the run. Bit of rolling, bit of stretching. I know how much that'll help then today. If I did that yesterday, I think to myself, you're going to feel good tomorrow because you did that. It's amazing how that works. I sometimes stretch my hamstrings because they get tight. And then, yeah, I just relax. If I'm being an absolute legend, I go upstairs, and I used to have this thing called Muse. I still own it, I just don't know where it is. I think it's in Flagstaff. I love when I go places, I find things that I like. I'm like, yes, I love that. If I'm being really good, Muse is like a meditation thing that if you get your brain into a state of relaxation, you hear these birds, and I love it. I'm such a data guy, which is so like, but I love data. So I love even when I meditate to know after I've meditated, how did I do? It might not be for everybody, and I'm not sponsored at all. Bought this myself. But there is other things out there like Headspace, and I'm going to go on about it again, but on my website, I actually added a meditation. I thought I'd try my arm at helping with some guided meditation, and so there's a guided meditation on there. It's just, think of meditating as, don't try to be good at it. Meditating is going to save you when you're stressed. You're doing it to get things in a better place so that when you get stressed, you're good. And you won't notice it, but you'll just handle your emotions and you won't chase your emotions as much because you've been meditating. It's kind of like I made my bed this morning. I thought to myself, if I'm going to tell everybody else to make their bed, I should probably make my bed myself. I seriously thought that. Terrible. I made my bed. I get to the track, I'm doing the reps, I've got a guy filming. I thought to myself I should do some hills. Hills look really good on film. Hills really do look really good on film. And then I thought, what are you thinking? You don't have hills today. I don't know how much of that good choice not to do the hills was linked to me making the bed, but it might have been. You could never tell. With meditating, don't try to be good at it, just do it. If it says count your inhale, count your exhales, that to me is the best thing you can do. If you're ever struggling to sleep and your brain's gone off in one and it's, I don't know, it's like last Tuesday it's thinking about, or it's thinking about next Friday, go back to that inhale, exhale. Not only does it help calm things down, you count the inhale as 1, you count the exhale as 2. It just completely takes the brain back to the right now. Oh my God, I've inhaled. 1. Oh my God, I'm exhaling. 2. If you're sleeping next to someone, probably don't be like, 1. Do it in your head and breathe quietly and lightly. But it is really helpful. So do that. The next really important thing is journaling. If you're not going to do the meditating, at least do the journaling. Write down how you did today. How did today go? Did you have a good day? Did you push too hard? Did you do the tempo at the right effort, the right speed? Did you allow for the wind? If you picked a hilly course, did you at least not try to go at half marathon pace? Did you slow it down because it's hilly? And likely if you tried to run a half marathon on that course, you wouldn't run your personal best pace. Are you making good decisions? If not, why not? What are you going to do about it? Really simple. If I journal, it really pisses me off, but I'll write down, run easy tomorrow. You've pushed for 4 days. The minute I write it down, I'm like, oh, I actually have to do that tomorrow now. It's my own little contract. I did a video on that, the contract thing. It's a really cool concept. You write things down, you write it all down. I'm going to take tomorrow's run easy. I'm going to run tomorrow's tempo slower than I've ever ran it before because I know I've been doing it too hard. Signed, John, that runs easy and doesn't do the sessions. Sign it, date it. Do not break your own contract. If you break your own contract, you never get to use it again. That's gone. If you absolutely have to break it because of a family thing, then you have to break it. It is what it is. But don't judge yourself on that. But 9 times out of 10, stick to your contract. I'm not joking. I've written in my contract sometimes to get personal, if I'm struggling with something, I've written in there, don't reply to that email for 2 days. And I've signed it. And then if I had hair, I'd be tearing it out. But for 2 days, I don't write back. That's how much my contracts mean to me. But I don't always have super discipline without the contract. I don't always have the willpower without the contract. When I do the contract, it means something to me. And I know it must have been important for me to be willing to write it down and sign it and date it. You don't have to do that with your journaling. Your journaling can just be, bloody great day, Karen. Good job. That's okay too. Let's end on a positive. That's an overwhelming day of running. I know I said I would talk about full time, and I will. I'll try quickly. Trying to fit, I'll do it in a way that I can, because I don't work full time, so I can't possibly relate. How can I? How dare I? You have to maximize time. If you're sitting at your desk, get up and walk once an hour. Shake your arms, rotate your ankles, go to the photocopy machine. I don't know. Just like when you're on an airplane, get up and down, help your body. Don't get to training at 6 p.m. and say your hip flexors and back are stiff and tight. Move them. Get up. You have to compensate. If you sit in a chair all day in that slunge position, you have to do more core and rehab than I do. You need to get that body back in a upright position, like a string pulling you up. It's all, you need to what? I personally would probably like figure out that chair. Don't read into this too much. Horse riders have a strap that pins their shoulders back like this, and they wear it, and it pins the two arms back. I think it goes here and then under the two arms, and it pins your shoulders back and head up to the sky. That's the kind of idea. You might look stupid at your desk with something like that on, but think of the difference that would make over time. That's where your brain needs to get to. How do you counteract the disadvantage of being at work? I personally would train at lunchtime if I could. That way I could have my breakfast at like 9 o'clock when I get into the office, and I have 3 hours before lunch to digest the food, make sure my glucose is back in a good place, and I would go for that session in the afternoon. If I couldn't do that, I'd be using that little lunch break to do my little bit of yoga or my little bit of foam rolling. That's stuff that you can't be bothered doing at the end of the day. And be careful with the can't be bothered, because you've worked hard all day. I wouldn't want to do it either. But it still needs to get done. It's still going to help you stay healthy. It's still going to help the next race. The next time that your calf goes, you'll wish you did it. Do it on your lunch break. If you get like plantar problems or calf problems, you can probably do stuff under your desk. In the running school, I literally demonstrated. I sat with a desk and like did stuff under the desk, rolled my feet, put my toe up so that it stretched the arch. Maximize your time. Be killing two birds with, you're not allowed to say that no more. I have to stop right there. Stanford released a list of things you're allowed to say, and that's on it. You're not allowed to say it. Yeah, maximize time. The other thing I would say is hydration. Super important. Have like electrolytes at your desk, have them in a drawer. If you work from home, they've literally scientifically proven it that I think every hour you should take a 10 to 15 minute breather. Maximize that 10 to 15 minutes. You can that's when you can do a bit of stretching. That's when you can do a Joe Wicks 10-minute core. His little core things are brilliant. Go on YouTube, Joe Wicks core. Just make the most of your time. And if I cannot preach it enough, make the most of the time that you know for a fact you have. And that means if you have to run before work, because that's the only time of the day you know you definitely have. You might have to pick a kid up from school. You might have to go to a school club. Figure it out. If you do have to go to those things, find a gym close to where your kid goes to. Netball, volleyball, doesn't matter. Football, soccer, blah, blah, blah. Find a gym close to it. Drop the kid off. There'll be an hour, 45 minutes to yourself. Go get it done. Don't sit with a donut and a coffee. Go get something done. You'll be so glad you did it, and it'll pay off. Your results are a sum of everything that you did. If I haven't already made it clear, just running, just that run that you did today, it's not enough. And some people are skipping that run. You must do the run. You must put fundamental things in place around the running to help your body recover, maximize how much of the training you absorb, stay healthy, keep your muscles healthy. The whole concept of the running school was that you cannot walk through a scanner. I wish you could walk through a scanner. You know, like the airport, you walk through a scanner and it goes beep, 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 just like the airport, and they go, over here, sir. I wish. And they go, Stephen, your right quad's only at 40%. And I go, fuck. And then they go, I've got a little brief here. Looks like you didn't do this, this, and this, and so your right quad, your nutrition's been down a bit, your this has been down a bit. That doesn't exist. So we need to be the scanner. We need to hold ourselves accountable, and the knowledge is out there. YouTube, you can get recovery stuff. It's free. The running school that I built put it all into one place, so people didn't have to go here, there, and everywhere to find it. But you can find it. It's not an excuse. I put it all in one place, which I thought was really helpful, and I probably delivered in a way that I thought might be helpful with experience. But come on, guys, it's free. It's everywhere. There's even free classes. I offer free classes. But a lot of the reason that we're not doing these things sometimes is a lack of knowledge. But a lot of the time it's that you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know it helps. You just need to start doing it. Start doing it. Now. But hey, it's probably nearly 8:30 and I have to go have my camp. But that and my 8 pills like a big junkie, they're all informed sport. None of this is like cheating. This is all like non-performance enhancing, so should be very clear about that. But it does help sleep. And it certainly helps me start to think about sleep and prioritize it, and some nights it even helps me close the laptop down. I don't want to paint this picture on YouTube that I'm perfect. I didn't go to bed till 1 a.m. last night. But then I make up for it. I'll be in bed at 9:15 tonight, I hope. And that, life's not perfect. But on those days that you can get to bed early and you can do a pre-bed routine and you do have time to foam roll, do it. Because you don't know which days you won't have that time. I'm going to leave you with that. Bye. Larry's going to say bye. We're going to watch some TV. Then we're going to make our calm drink. Then we're going to go to bed. I'll tell you the truth. I'll definitely journal. I might meditate. I should meditate, but I'll definitely journal. Today was a good day. I should write that down. The brain loves gratitude. Be grateful for things. You know one thing I said today, and if you've watched this video to this far, you deserve this. One of my best friends went through a really hard cancer. And this is going to sound mental. But I almost think you're lucky. And that is crazy. But why you're lucky is that you get to wake up tomorrow and you go, oh, I'm still alive. Why don't we do that? I've not gone through cancer or anything mad. Why don't we do that? I'm not saying lucky that someone's had to go through pain. This is one of my best friends. And I will cry. I cried my eyes out a lot. And it's not lucky in that way. But it's lucky that anybody that's gone through something so close to death gets to wake up and just be delighted that they're still there. The brain loves gratitude. Write down some things you're grateful for. Husband, wife, partner, they might piss you off. Your kids, they might do your head in, but you love them to pieces. Be grateful. Show them. Be nice to them. They will be nice back. It's amazing how that works. Start to write down things you're grateful for. Start with oxygen. That's really cool. Water, the things you own in your house, your family, whatever you've got. You're running, how your training went, your motivation at the moment. Write down the things you're grateful for. I will definitely do that when I go to bed tonight. And then I'll go sleep. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you like, you can check out the running school, the masterclass, the marathon plan, 10K plan. I often end like a video and then I add this little, here's the school. And so yeah, I'll do that. But do all those nice things. Like, subscribe. You guys this channel started as a place that, forgive me, but the running school is my thing. That's my work. I push that, but it doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean I'm not trying to share a good message. I started this YouTube to push the school. That was plain and simple. And it just grew into something bigger. That came up in conversation today with the videographer. He watched it and that's why he came. He watched the school stuff, watched the YouTube stuff. And I kind of said, like, what's mad is, like, if the school disappeared tomorrow, I'd still do this YouTube. And I didn't know that at the beginning, but it grew into something bigger and more important. And the running stuff's important to me, but I want to help you get better at running so that you maybe find a happiness in this balance. You think the journaling, the meditating, the good food, the good sleep, the good nutrition, the hydration, it's going to make you a lot happier. I can't believe how much I'm smiling. Oh, really care about how fast you run. I can help you be faster, I'm trying. I just want people to be happier. I've been in some really dark places. Like, not like, yeah, dark. The worst darkness is when you don't see yourself maybe for how amazing you are. That's the worst type of darkness. Then you beat yourself up and you do all these things. And I guess like I started this YouTube to push this school, and I decided that yeah, it's became bigger, and I hope that the influence I have and the trust that can be built because of things I've achieved and because I can help you be better at running, but I hope underneath it all I help you learn to maybe come out of some rough times or dark times yourself. I want you to start going a bit easier on yourself, not beating yourself up as much. I would love people to start being nicer to themselves. Talk to yourself in a nice way. Stop criticizing yourself. Well done today. That's the gratitude journaling. Well done today. You did great. Don't try to be a perfectionist all the time. Don't scold yourself all the time, and then be nicer to the people around you, and it'll really come back in a nice way. But the YouTube stuff has become a bit bigger than school or masterclass or anything like that. It's become a cool thing that I hope the influence is a positive and happy one. Of course I would like you to be faster. Awesome. But let me tell you, I don't care that I run 209. I don't care. I found joy in just dedicating myself to running and being committed and trying. And I've also found it a lot better to be, a bit happier. And all this helps. But before I cry and do all those things, I'm going to say goodbye. Well done. Thank you for listening. Take care. Come on, Larry. Other boy. You sit there, kid.
If you like today's video, don't forget you can check out my running masterclass at joggingroom.com. 60 lectures, over 12 hours of tips, strength conditioning, nutrition, recovery, foam rolling routines, strength conditioning routines, sleep tips, psychology tips, race preparation tips, everything you could imagine, from how to carb load, how to work with your glucose to get better at running, and all the tips that have helped me get to the level I've got to. I didn't get to run 209 without a lot of knowledge, and I wanted to pass that knowledge on to other runners who wanted to get better. I wanted to help other runners that perhaps sat at home and wanted to be faster, wanted to be better at running, wanted to handle anxiety better in competition. I tried to get all that knowledge out of my head and into this masterclass. So if you want to go check it out, check it out. If you sign up, I hope you really enjoy it. I hope your running reaches really good new levels, and take care. Happy running. Be kind to yourself. Stop beating yourself up so much. Running in life is really hard, but well done.